Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan, and for this week's vlog I sat down with Ricky Simmonds and Steve Jones to talk with them about their classic Love Shines Through, which came out in the year 1999 under a project named Chakra. Enjoy! Chakra is one of the many projects from UK-based trance duo Ricky Simmonds and Steve Jones. Besides Chakra, the guys are responsible for acts such as Ascension, Essence, Force Majeure, Lustral, Ultra High, The Space Brothers and many others. The first release they did under that Chakra alias was the track I Am, which came out in the year 1996. The vocals on this one are done by singer Kate Cameron, who you also might know from the Above and Beyond track Far From In Love from the year 2002. In 1997 the Chakra single Home came out, also with vocals by Kate. But the track that we're gonna discuss in this week's vlog is Love Shines Through, a beautiful track that came out 20 years ago, back in the year 1999. And for that one I sat down with Steve and Ricky in their studio in London. My first question to them was if it was the plan already from the start to make this Chakra track a vocal one as well.
Yeah, it was definitely the plan. In fact, pretty much most of the tracks we did, certainly around that time, were always intended to be vocal tracks. So that one was no different.
What else would you have done otherwise?
I'd be out of a job.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I was doing. Yeah. Not many instrumentals.
Can't work with someone if you're only going to do instrumentals.
You say that, what about Force Majeure?
Yeah, but
Redemption?
you wrote the riff on that, right? So,
all right,
anyway,
but still, it wasn't a fucking singing it, was it?
Your thing is a vocal.
All right.
Sorry,
I know my place.
I've ruined your intro.
I know my place.
I've ruined your intro.
Please continue.
So, the vocals on the track are done by Kate Cameron. You already worked with her on previous tracks such as I Am and Home. How did you guys meet Kate?
Well, yeah, so Kate predated work on Chakra. We were in a band called The Good Strawberries, and it was a kind of, how would you describe it? Like
Sunscreen.
Yeah, it was like a rock kind of dance crossover band, like a hybrid. And we were working with Angie Brown. She was doing some backing vocals for us. And then suddenly one day she couldn't make a session that we needed her for. And she said, let me send my mate along.
She was busy with Bizarre Inc. They had just had a hit.
That's right, yeah.
Bizarre Inc. were touring, so she said, I can't do the gigs with you anymore. So,
but she said, my friend Kate sounds exactly like me. So she got her along. So Kate did some backing vocals for this band, and kind of in a similar way that we had with on the Lustral project. Kate was known for a kind of very bluesy, kind of black type of vocal, even though she was a white girl from Brighton. So she stayed in our minds when we were suddenly doing the Chakra stuff, and we got her along to do something which was slightly out of her comfort zone as well.
Yeah, but
although that had already started with I Am.
Yeah, you know. But the reason we thought about having her to work with this on I Am, for instance, or on the Chakra stuff, was because I knew she had the same sort of range as Ricky. So because Ricky had written
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, because Ricky had written the top line. To find a female singer that could sing in that register was difficult. But I remember when the two of them were singing in the studio during rehearsals in our bands, she could always match him on tone and
same register. Yeah.
So when he'd written the top line for I Am, it was like, okay, well, Kate will be able to sing that. Let's get her in the studio and get to do it.
Yeah, because that's quite a low vocal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I Am in terms of range.
So you guys wrote the lyrics for the track as well, right?
Yeah. Again, I wrote all the lyrics for it.
It's definitely his
Again,
job.
I'd be out of work if I didn't have that
It's
gig.
a fine lyric too. One of the best I think we've done.
Thank you very much. It's very kind.
You've done.
Very kind.
Yeah. So were you inspired by something while writing the lyrics?
Hard to remember. I mean, because there's a weird way that we end up writing that song. I do remember though writing all the verse lyrics in Thailand, and I don't think I would have written the same lyrics somewhere else. There was something about being in Thailand. Anyone who's been there kind of know what I mean about the kind of place it is, the spiritual and the kind of special quality of the place. So I do remember certainly writing those verse lyrics for both verses there. But I think, you know, we'll go on to the fact that we already had the chorus sorted out previously. Was it previously?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, the verse came after the chorus. So it wasn't inspired by any particular one thing, but it was definitely about a feeling of where I was at the time.
So were the lyrics finished, or was Kate actually in the studio when you guys were working on the track?
No, they were all finished when we got Kate in to do it, as we always did with the vocal. Again, otherwise I'd be out of a job. Suddenly realised what my purpose in life is.
So what else can you tell us from the production process of the track?
Well, the track was actually 2 songs originally. So the verse is, as Ricky's saying, he wrote in Thailand, and it was a track called This Precious Wonder, which never got released. The verse is really good, the chorus wasn't so good. So
you weren't keen on the chorus.
We kind of parked the verse, you are beautiful within, you are beautiful without. Lovely verse, so we just came back to that another time. But when I was working on Heaven Will Come one night in the studio, I couldn't quite get that to work. This is the Space Brothers track. We had the verses are as they are now, but the chorus had this weird bit on the end of it, which was in everything you do, your beauty will shine through, which is kind of the initial draft from Love Shines Through.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do a production that night that sounded a bit like left field. I was kind of listening to the Leftism album, and particularly something like Song of Life. And I wanted to do a backing track that sounded like that with Heaven Will Come over the top of it. And I kind of got it working. And we got to the kind of chorus part where it says Heaven Will Come. And that kind of sounded like all we needed, and didn't need the main chorus, which is now the chorus for Love Shines Through. So the in everything you do, your love shines through is basically the chorus for Heaven Will Come, and we just chopped it off and left it off. Then we realised we had a really good verse from This Precious Wonder and a really good chorus, which would make an amazing track, both with Kate singing on. So we just joined the two together, and that
I can't remember. Were they in the same key then?
Yeah.
So we didn't even have to worry about.
Kate had to come back and repair the lyric, because the lyric was in everything you do, your beauty will shine through. So we had to change to everything your love shines through.
We only had room for one syllable.
And then we had the bridge part you write over the riff, which was the love, that kind of, which I think was Beatles inspired, wasn't it?
Probably.
Wasn't it? Love, love, love.
It might have been. It might have been, because we played that song in
Thailand. On New Year's Eve.
I asked to play when we did a club called the Green Mango, New Year's Eve was it the Millennium, or would we have done this before?
It was Millennium, yeah.
But that came. When did Love Shines Through come
99.
out?
So yeah, no.
Yeah, so that was before then. But I think that was probably a heavy influence on it anyway.
Yeah, so the two coming together, that's how it. But the production process otherwise, fairly straightforward after that. It was. The verses took care of themselves because we had that built already, the music around it. I had to write the riff in the chorus, and that was heavily inspired by Vernon's Wonderland. So
Inspired or stolen?
Inspired. and that came from when we were on tour with at the Ministry of Sound, because when Oakenfold was headlining that every night, his last tune every single night that we were there for 15 weeks was Vernon's Wonderland, and it was his encore. And I just love that, the little string riff. So I sort of started with that for the chorus, changed some of the stuff around, and that's where that came from.
So what kind of equipment did it use?
We used, for the main riff sound, was a Novation Supernova, Akai 1040 with Cubase on it, Atari 1040 with a couple of Akai 3200s, Jupiter 6, Nord lead for the bass, and an MS-10. That's about it, really.
Yeah. So what was the most difficult part of the production?
Just joining the two songs together to make them work and make them kind of seamless. Bassline took a bit of time. I really wanted to kind of get a groove that sounded a little bit like a Marauder bassline, and without it sounding like I Feel Love. So I wanted to get that kind of movement without just ripping it off. So that was a bit of a challenge, just getting the groove to work.
You've found out now, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not. You know what I mean.
That's true.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to finish the entire track?
Couple of weeks once we got it together. I think it's pretty quick.
So was it like a lot quicker compared to the previous Chakra releases?
I think it was slower, actually. Probably just because of the nature of bolting two tracks together and making that work.
I Am was really quick. I Am was 3 or 4 hours. Because we were really heavily into the Goa mix that Oakenfold had done on the.
Yeah, that was a massive kind of.
So
influence.
A day later, I went upstairs and wrote a bit of music just after listening to that on a Saturday night, and Ricky was sitting with me, and I remember just that all came out in about 3 or 4 hours. Gave Rick a tape of it. He went home and came back the next day with the lyric.
Yeah, and that's quite quick usually, because
really
sometimes you can percolate on something for a few days, but it was kind of it's one of those where it kind of tumbled out.
Home was longer. Home was because we wanted to write a track with a ton of chords in it. Because I think we had just finished Someone, the Ascension record, and that only had 2 chords. And I was so pissed off with listening to the same 2 chords. I said to Rick, we've got to write something with a load of chords in it. I want to do something like OT Quartet. So Home has got 10 million chords in it, so that took a while. Yeah.
So when Love Shines Through was finished, did you already have a feeling this could be a big one?
Did you have a feeling? It's a weird one, because I mean, the thing is, with a lot of tracks, you kind of don't see something coming when it suddenly, you know, takes off. Some you do, but I don't know, you always try and remain cautiously optimistic that it's going to connect with people. But I honestly don't remember the kind of life it's had since. I don't remember that particular track at the time thinking, oh, this is going to kind of, you know, make some kind of mark in some way.
I remember Tony McGuinness being really into it, and he absolutely loved it. It was one of his favourite tunes, I think, and Matt Derry. So a couple of our...
Well, Tony McGuinness, funny enough, was the marketing manager at the time at Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
before Above and Beyond. So he was our marketing guru. So it was kind of weird he was in that role.
I remember Ferry loving it. Always, he came up to us and was always saying, "You are beautiful within, you are beautiful out." He's saying,
yeah. I think Matt Derry did the same thing.
Yeah,
didn't
he did. Yeah. So, yeah. At the time, it was just a bit below the radar. It wasn't a huge hit in the UK, and I don't remember everyone connecting particularly well with the public. But in retrospect now, it's
And funny enough, so years later, when we first started doing, we started having discussions with Michael Perron at Armada to start licensing some of our tracks. I remember in some early discussions he said, "But we really want the big one." And we had a lot of records there, and then we said, "Well, which one do you mean?" He said, "Well, Love Shines Through." And he said it like, "What other one could we be talking about?" And that was the only time I thought, "Oh God, didn't realise that had that kind of reach that, you know, we hadn't really realised."
Yeah, we had no perception that that was the big Chakra record. We thought he meant Home or one of the others, but no, it's Love Shines Through.
And also because we might have been judging it as well by how well tracks had done in the charts, and so we'd had quite a lot of stuff that had gone into the charts, some quite high as well, in the top 30, in the top 20, etc. But Love Shines Through on that release didn't do that well in the British charts, so that might have psychologically made us think, well, that one's not, you know, connecting quite as much. But obviously that's not a barometer really that you can really rely on.
So just as the previous 2 Chakra releases, I Am and Home, Love Shines Through also made it into the UK singles chart, as you just said. Did you guys ever perform live as Chakra together with Kate?
No, we never did. It wasn't really a decision where we said, okay, we're not going to do that, but we were pretty busy. I mean, we didn't do that much kind of promotion for any of the projects really, but Space Brothers kind of took over in terms of the main focus because we were doing an album at the time.
I think the Space Brothers album came out the same week as Love Shines
Actually,
Through.
it did, yeah. So that kind of took up a lot of focus.
Yeah.
So anything that we were kind of making a decision in terms of promotion, gigs, whatever it was, or, you know, any kind of appearances, the Space Brothers took up a lot of the bandwidth, so to speak.
Yeah. So do you have any idea how many copies of Love Shines Through have been sold?
22. I told you it wasn't a big hit.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd love to know, but
I don't know. Have you got a clue? I haven't got a clue actually.
I don't know if you include the re-releases that are happening now from the original release. I don't think a lot, but if you're putting all the different mixes that have been done up to date now, Alex's mix and others, no idea. But
yeah.
So what's the best memory you guys have from this track?
From Love Shines Through? I'll let you take that one.
definitely the effect it has on people now. Funny enough, it's just so well received always, you know. And so we usually play it right at the end of the sets if we're doing a classic set, and it's just always such a love record now, which is weird because as I said at the time, it wasn't that well received at the time. So, but it's something that's got under people's skin over the years, and so I reckon playing it now is the best it sounded. Funny enough.
Yeah. So the track is 20 years old now. Are there any plans for like a re-release or new remixes maybe?
I've got some ideas actually. Yeah. can't say what they are yet, but yeah, yeah. I've actually got one thing in mind that I'm going to try and speak to.
Really though?
I really have. No, I really have.
Oh,
a certain person. We chatted about doing it together.
Oh.
And I reckon we can.
Even I haven't heard about this.
I reckon we can pull it off. I was going to tell you tonight.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to, you know.
So the track has been remixed in the past already. You already mentioned Alex Moore, also Martin Roth, Daniel and Styles, and you guys did a dub version on your alias, the Space Brothers, as well. So which version is your favorite one?
It's very close between Alex's mix and the original. And in fact, I've managed to make an original by editing the dub and the original mix together now, which sound better. So really close. But
my favourite is the Space Brothers mix. So.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
I've heard during dinner that there's actually a funny story about the Space Brothers mix. Why there's like a Space Brothers mix?
Yeah, just because Josh Jules and Paul Oakenfold, whenever we used to give them one of our tracks, and they always start with strings, which we thought was very musical and lovely, and the DJs were like, "Oh, can't you just start a track with a kick drum for a change?" So we'd give them the mix that we loved, and then we'd always think, "Oh, we'll do you a version on the other side that starts with the kick drum, so you can play it." And actually, it was Paul Oakenfold that first started asking us for that. Whenever we used to send him acetates of our new tunes, they'd always start with strings, and he'd say, "Look, do me a favour, can you pop in the studio, just do a version just with like a 1 minute drum intro and cut me an acetate
like everyone else."
Yeah. And then so after we started doing it, we were realising, you know what, we should really sort our lives out here and make a DJ friendly version, which is what we do.
We had to grow up basically and stop being childish.
So is there a chance there will ever be any new Chakra material?
I'd like to think that we haven't been talking about any plans for it, but I'd really like to. Do you want to do something?
Love to.
All right, yeah, that's a yes then.
Yeah,
I think we should definitely do it. Actually, we did. Funny enough, we did record one idea, but it wasn't. It didn't come up to scratch.
We did two demos with Kate Cameron a while back.
He's very. He's got a quality control thing, which is good, which I'm really grateful for, because I might put out any old crap, but he was said, no, it's not quite right. So a couple of tracks that could have easily gone out without him kind of saying, no, it's not quite up to the standard we want.
So if there will be new Chakra material, then it will be with Kate?
I would hope so, because she is the sound. Yeah. She's done all four, because there's Doors as well, which we did.
Oh yeah, Doors.
Lost Language. So yeah, and she sung them all. So yeah,
we definitely get Kate to. Yeah, because we haven't had another singer on the Chakra record, have we? So yeah, that space is reserved for Kate always.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Alright, that was it, this week's vlog, my interview with Steve Jones and Ricky Simmonds about their beautiful classic Love Shines Through, which came out under a project name Chakra. Thanks a lot for your time, guys, much appreciated. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe. And keep in mind, I did 2 more interviews with the guys. One interview is going to be about their project The Space Brothers, plus I did another interview, and that one is going to be about Lustral and Everytime. So those should be online in the next few weeks. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.